First, welcome to my YouTube channel. Myself Ujjal Baro. This is my second lectures on historical development of libraries in India. In these lectures, I am going to discuss the role of different individuals in the development of libraries in Baroda state. Okay, so this namely MSRG 3, Maharaja Shazirao Gaekwad 3, then William Ellington Borden, then Motivai Amin, and then Newton Mohandat, and then J.S. Kudalgar. So let's discuss one by one. So now about Maharaja Shazirao Gaekwad 3. So he was born in 1862 and died on 6 February 1939 at Jayamahal Palace, and his original name was Gopal Rao. So he was not born as a prince. Actually, he was a son from a farmer background family. So Maharani Jamuna Bai, the widow of Maharaja Khadirao, Maharaja Khadirao was the ruler of the Baroda state from 1856 to 1870. So in 1875, adopted Gopal Rao as heir and successor. Okay. Then Maharaja Khadirao appointed Mr. F.A.H. Elliot as tutor of Maharaja Shazirao Gaekwad III. Okay. To educate Maharaja Shazirao Gaekwad and to prepare him for the kingship. Then at the age of 18, in 1881, he was invested with full powers of the government. He able to manage administrations of Baroda because of Sir T. Mahadev Rao. Okay, Sir T. Mahadev Rao was an Indian statesman, civil servant, administration, and politician who served as the Diwan of Baroda from 1875 to 1882. Historically, Diwan was a term which means a chief treasury official, finance minister, or prime minister in some Indian state. Okay, he was also a social reformer. He made social and administrative reforms in Baroda state for the upliftment of the people of the Baroda state. For example, prevention of child marriage, allowed widow remarriage, remove caste tyranny, abolish unsociability. Most importantly, introduce free and compulsory education. Then establish a network of public libraries, etc. Okay, he was visited to America in 1906, then Europe in March 1905. So he mainly visited to these two countries, to study the life and cultures of these people of this country. Okay, there he was so curious to acquire knowledge and experience which could be gained to make Baroda state an ideal state of India. He investigated into the questions of industrial development, agriculture, labor unions, child rearing, education, and libraries. During his foreign travel, he was much impressed by the scientific outlook of people of America and Europe. He was also impressed by the tremendous influence of education and free public libraries on the cultures and civil life of those countries. Even thus, he called W.A. Borden to run the public library of his state. He who was the first American library professional. Okay, this was first step for the development of public libraries in India that was taken by the Maharaja Shazirao Gaekwad. We will discuss more about him after Maharaja Shazirao Gaekwad. Okay. Now, what do you think about libraries? What MSRG Maharaja Shazirao Gaekwad thinks about libraries? So he believed that the public libraries is the people university. So in this regard, he was said that neither school nor the college can take a learner to the end of his lifelong journey in the pursuit of knowledge, Library is the only place where a person can continue his lifelong education, a prerequisite for keeping pace with development in the field of knowledge. Even though Maharaja linked primary education with a free public library as matter of rule. So in this regard, he was of the opinion that state aided free public libraries are absolutely essential for continuing education. Also said that money spent on a few years of compulsory primary education should go as unless there is an adequate provisions for follow-up work as a lifelong process. Only free public library service can keep masses literate after formal education is over. Again, at a meeting held on at a meeting held on of the Baroda Central Library Club on October 29, 1912, he said that knowledge cannot be attained without self-sacrifice. India is poor, its wants are many, but this is conditioned to be resolutely faced as other nations have faced in the past, as many others must face it in the future. The people must rise superior to their circumstances and realize that more knowledge is their greatest need, their greatest want. They must be uh, brought up to love books, not simply attractive bindings or pretty pictures, but their contents. They must be taught to regard books as part of their lives. Libraries will not then appear a luxury but a necessity of existence. So in general, he wanted to say that Indian India is a very poor country, and for the development of the country, every people require knowledge. So he wanted to suggest that people should love book and read books and visit to the library. So according to him, library is very important institution. Okay. Again, on yet another occasion, he said, a library must build up as men are built, slowly and carefully, with considerations of the work to be performed. This is an institution, okay, the work of which in the futures may help or mar the man by whose hands that futures will be formed. Okay, so also one important thing that Maharaja Syajirao Gaekwad III was known as the father of library movement in India. Okay, he was known as the father of library movement in India. So now we will discuss about the W.A. Burton. Okay, so he was born on 4 April 1854 at New Bedford in USA. So in and died on 1931. Okay, so before he become librarian, he was a magistrate and bookbinder. Okay, after finally finding his interest in the library profession, he studied library technique for 3 years under uh, Mr. Charles A. Qatar. Okay, so C.A. Qatar was one of the founder of modern librarianship and the inventor of the expensive classification and the Qatar author table. Okay, after completing his course, he assisted in the organizations of rural library work in Rochester in 1885. So in 1887, he was appointed as a lecturer in the Columbia University Library School under Dr. Melville Dewey. So he was appointed as the librarian again. He was appointed as the librarian of the Lenona Library in the Yale University. Okay, Yale University is is a private university in USA which was established in the year of 1907. Later on, he organized the library of the Young Men's Institute, New Haven. He was one of the America's first professional librarians. Okay, he came to Baroda in 1910 at the age of 57 with excellent background of public libraries. Okay, so in this regard, Mr. William Ellington Burton was invited by the Massachusetts Gayward Tree to cooperate in the establishment of a complete modern library system in Baroda state. Okay, then he came to Baroda in 1910. Then he became the director of state libraries in Baroda until 1913. So he is the for he was the person who issued first library journal, namely Library Miscellany, in 1912. Okay, this is all about W. Burton. Now about Motivai Amin. So he was born in 29 November 1873 in Alindra village of Kheda district in Patidhar family. Okay, he was a social reformer, educationist, curator of the state government. So he established libraries at many nearby places like Kheda, Patan, Pitlat, Anand, and Bhadora. He was called as the Grand Old Man. Okay, Bhishma Pita. Why he was called as Grand Old Man or Bhishma Pita? Because he engaged himself in the overall development of the libraries situated in the nearby villages. Then again, he developed libraries as the laboratories of education. Then established student library in Vaso. Then after name as MN Amin Public Library. Okay. Uh, in the case of study library in Vaso, when it was established, he collected some contributions from some members of the society, but the funds were found insufficient, insufficient for the purpose. So he pledged to raise the required amount on his own. This was the boldest step on his part, who was working as a teacher on a salary of Rs 60 per month. Such was the enthusiasm of Motivai Amin had for the cause of a library. Then after that, this library was later named as the Amin Public Library. Okay, so from this event we can know that how much he loved his profession. Okay, he spent her money, okay, for buying book. Okay, then he written the history of library system. He written a book that was named the history of library system. So in this book, for promoting the reading culture in India, he wrote that as the American businessmen try hard for the marketing of their products, in the same way the librarians they also try their best to persuade people to read more and more books. That's why the reading habit among the Americans has increased. The same type of efforts are required in India also. Okay, then major contribution of Motivai Amin. So in 1906 established first public library. So placed at village Pitlat in Gujarat. Okay, then name Mitra Mandal Pustakalay, also in Vaso, which I have already discussed. So Vaso library was established in 1890. Then started mobile library on the line of America in Vadora state. Vadora is the another name of the Baroda. Okay, in 1911. Then established libraries in Khadi, 6 in Amreli, 9 in Navsari, and 14 in Bhadora. Okay, he was started a quarterly journal also entitled namely Pustakalaya, which is being published by Pustakalaya Sayak Sahakari Mandal. Then he arranged the state level conference. We know conference is most important for uh, development of for discussing the topic related to any subject. Okay, so he arranged the conference for discussing the relating topic related to libraries. Okay, on so arranged the state level conference on 12 and 13 April 1925. He organized the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of the first public library of Bhadora, then established children's and women's libraries also. Okay, so in the conclusion, we can say that he is the icon of inspiration in spreading library movement in then princely state of Baroda. Motivated, Amin contributed a lot in giving a proper direction to Maharaja Shahajirao Gaekwad educations and library policies. Okay, then now about Newton Mahandan. So uh, he also contributed for the development of library in India. Okay, so Mr. Newton Mahandan as acting curator of libraries in 1944. So it was said that after the exit of Mr. William Ellingson, Borden Maharaja Shahajirao Gaekwad sent Mr. J.S. Kudalgar abroad to study the libraries of the world. Initially, MSRG appointed Mr. Motivai N. Amin as acting curator of libraries in 1913, and then he was replaced by Mr. Newton Mahandatta as acting curator of libraries in 1914. Then there was a Baroda library handbook uh, where the second editions of handbook, the Baroda library handbook, was brought out by him in 1921 and third edition was in 1924. Also took active part along with Mr. Motivai and Amin in organizing the Baroda Library Association in 1925 and play a key role in its conference organized at Gandevi in 1925, Dwarka in 1926 and at Pitland in 1928. Then he was plays important role for the establishment of Baroda Pustakalaya Sayak Sahakari Mandal in 1925 and formed the first Tulaka Library Association at Vasodia in 1926. Mm, then Mr. Krishnama Sari, the, 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 the then Diwan of Baroda once said about him that the success of Baroda Library Department is due in no small measure to his Datta's enthusiasm. Okay. Now about J.S. Kudalgar. So he was born in 1882 in poor Goldish family in Mumbai. Uh, so about his education life, actually he was passed master degree examinations from the Bombay University in 1905 and then later also took the LLB degree from the same university. So he was appointed as principal assistant with the designations of assistant director when W.A. Borden took over as the first director of the State Department of Public Libraries in Baroda. Then we know that the research or study is very important for the development of any field. So therefore Maharaja Shahajirao Gaekwad III called him to study on the spot of about the public library system in countries of Europe, United States of America and Japan. Then he returned to Baroda in 1915 to take over as the worthy successor of Baroda as director of the Department of Libraries of the state. Then he maintained town and village libraries, the mobile libraries units, the in-service training course for librarians, and all other programs planned by the Borden. Okay. Then after Borden, he became the editor of Journal of the Library Miscellany 1912. He was represented the Baroda state government at the Oriental Conference held in 1919 at Pune. Okay. Then when the library workers in Andhra convened the first All India Public Library Conference in Madras in 1919, the honor of presiding over that conference uh, was given to J.S. Kudalgar. Okay, Kudalgar was All India Public Library Association was formed in 1920, and Kudalgar was elected president of this association. Okay, and died in 1921. So I want to discuss a question which is come in the UGC NET exam June 2023 in this year. So this question is, which of the following are true of Maharaja Syajirao Rao Gaikwad III? So first one is option A. He is regarded as Epstol of Indian Library Movement. Okay, he is the father of Epstol means the father of Indian Library Association. Okay, then he invited W.A. Borden. It is correct for organizing the library system in India. He is one of the founder members of the Indian Library System. It is not correct. Then D. He was instrumental in opening it. This is also not correct. Then E. He played a vital role in providing matching grants to start village libraries. So we have discussed he provided grant for matching providing matching grants to start village library. Okay, so the correct answer is A, B, E only. So three option is correct. So from this question we know that we have to study all the things. Okay, we can not ignore anything, so we have to study a lot. Okay, so this is all about in this lectures. If you have any question regarding these topics, please contact me on my telegram channel UGC Library and Information Science @Ujjal Baro. Then my email ID is baroujjal7@gmail.com. So thank you so much for watching this video.